Hi, I'm Eli Beta, and welcome to Breslev Pirkey Avot. Today we're going to go over chapter 1, Mishnah 3. And it starts, Antigonos, ish socho, קיבל משמעון הצדיק. הוא היה אומר, אל תהיו כעבדים המשמשים את הרב על מנת לקבל פרס, אלא הבו כעבדים המשמשים את הרב שלא על מנת לקבל פרס, ויהי מורא שמיים עליכם. Antigonos of Soko received the tradition from Shimon HaTzadik. He used to say, do not be like servants who serve their master for the sake of receiving a reward. Rather, be like servants who serve their master without a reward in mind, and let the fear of heaven be upon you. Here, when it says fear of heaven, Yirat Shamayim, I also would like to use the awe of heaven. I think fear brings up some negative feelings in all of us. We don't like fear, but awe brings this, so let the awe of heaven be upon you. So the Breslev insights say, do not be like a servant who served their master for the sake of receiving a reward. Rabbi Nachman says, at the end of his life, Moses pleaded with God to change the decree forbidding him to enter the Holy Land. He asked God to grant him the permission he sought as a gift from the treasury of unearned gifts, that is, from the treasury reserved for those who had not earned a reward. Moshe's words were, I pleaded, ve'etchanan, to God, refer to the treasury of unearned gifts. This is kind of cool. There's this like secret room with gifts that just Hashem has just to give us for free. Continuing, Rashi probes deeply into the meaning of the word va'etchanan, I pleaded. He points out that the root of this word is chanun, which relates to the phrase matanat chinam, unearned gifts or acts of grace. As God had said, I will be gracious to whom I will be gracious. Even though tzaddikim could rightfully base their requests on the reward earned for their good deeds, they beg God only for an act of grace. Rashi's remarks are based on this midrash. Moses, Moshe Rabbeinu, the man, the prophet, talked to God face to face. I mean, if there was anybody that can go up to Hashem and say, hey Hashem, listen, look at everything I've done. Come on. You know I deserve to get into the land of Israel. And I think he would have had 2 feet to stand on when he said that. But that wasn't his approach. Remember, Moses was the most humble man. So he pleaded to Hashem. He said, even though I might be able to come here and ask you and tell you and bring up all of my good deeds, I'm not coming from there. You're dad. You're awesome. Can I have this, please? The Holy One, showed Moses all the heavenly treasures that are set aside for the righteous in the world to come. Moses asked about each treasury. This treasury, for whom is it reserved? The Holy One replied, this is set aside for those who fulfill my commandments. Moses asked again, and this treasury, for whom is it reserved? The Holy One replied, this is reserved for those who raise orphans. After Moses had asked about each treasury, he beheld one that was greater than all the rest. He asked, this treasury, for whom is it reserved? The Holy One replied, for those who have earned nothing of their own. Hence the treasury is called Otsar Matanat Chinam, the treasury of unearned gifts. I had a conversation recently, and this topic came up of I got to do more. I have to do more to please God. I don't deserve these blessings that He's giving me, or I love these blessings so much. I have to keep doing more and more and more and more so they're not taken away. When we understand that there's this concept, and as parents you can understand it, that just sometimes you want to give your kids something just because. And Hashem has this whole huge treasury of things that He wants to give us just because. And we have no idea why the certain thing we're getting is being given to us. And so instead of getting into this whole, I deserve it, I don't deserve it, and the guilt or the shame that comes with receiving, we know that there's this place that's just because. I like that. Rav Nassim says, our sages have instructed us, do not be like servants who serve their master for the sake of receiving reward. Without question, we will receive an abundant reward in return for our good deeds, the nature of which no eye has ever seen, O God, except yours. Nevertheless, according to the strict letter of the law, we do not deserve any reward, since our ability to fulfill the Torah's commandments and perform good deeds comes from God through His abundant compassion. That is what King David meant when he said, for everything is from you, and what we give you comes from your hand. This is really beautiful. It reminds me of a song in Spanish, and it says, "You've given me my heart, and I'm coming to you, and I'm giving you the only thing that I have to give you, which is my heart that you gave me." In other words, when we understand that everything is part of, is one of, and is intrinsic to Hashem, then everything that we're getting is His, and everything that we do, it comes from Him anyways. So when we have the intention that we're doing it just because either way we can't even fathom what He has in store for us, then the energy behind everything that we do is full of love and light. Continuing, rather, all our efforts in divine service prepare us to receive the great love that God wishes to bestow upon us from His treasury of unearned gifts. Accordingly, the preparations we make in this world increase the share we'll receive at the royal banquet in the world to come. The Mishnah explicitly refers to our mitzvot as preparations when it says, "This world is like the antechamber before the world to come. Prepare yourself in the antechamber so that you may enter the banquet hall." This is kind of hard to grasp, like what everything that we do really isn't for us here, but it's for us there. But I think the concept of the world to come is this place, or is this idea that our actions and that what we do in this world transcend. And they actually do have an effect that go beyond what we can see or what we can fathom. The world to come is this concept beyond what we can grasp. And so too is the reward for our actions in the sense of how much we can transcend and live like we're in this world to come here. You see, when we're not looking to receive something, when we're not looking to get anywhere but just to go, then everything is amazing and is glorious and is wonderful because we're not expecting to receive anything. And when you have expectations, well, that's the one thing that can lead you to be disappointed. But if you go without expectations, meaning without expecting to receive a reward, and you just do because this is what I choose to do, you're never disappointed and you're always actually surprised. Continuing with Rabbi Nachman, their portion is while still alive in this world. You fill their belly with your hidden treasure. I will be sated by beholding your countenance. This is Psalms. Some people seek instant gratification, one-click shopping. They wish to fill their bellies with the fruits of physical lusts and rewards in this world. Others truly seek to serve God, but they wish to fill their bellies with the eternal rewards of the world to come, which is also a way of seeking a reward for one's good deeds. Since, says King David, I seek to serve you without any intent of reward, just to be able to see your countenance. There's a thing that says, mitzvah goreret mitzvah, a mitzvah, the reward for a mitzvah is a mitzvah. When you do a mitzvah, you connect, and a mitzvah being a good deed or a commandment, you connect to the holy energy that was brought down to this world for us to connect to. And once you taste that, you want more. Because that feeling, that love, that hug, that just connection is so wonderful that you seek for more. So the reward of doing this is that you get more. And it works the other way too, because, doing a sin or getting a reward feels good. And the reward for that reward is that you want more of that, so you get more of that. Because where you want to fill your belly, Hashem is going to open the path for you to fill it. You want to fill it with light? You'll fill it with light. You want to fill it with lust? You'll fill it with lust. Choice is yours. Going into the digest of commentaries, it says, be like servants who serve their masters with other reward in mind. That is, just simple. Serve God out of love. Do what you do just because. And let the fear of heaven, or the awe of heaven, be upon you. So that even when you serve God out of love, you still are in awe of heaven, always remaining aware of the awesome majesty of the Creator. For it is written, you shall fear the Lord your God, or as I prefer, you shall be in awe of the Lord your God. Love of God will lead you to fulfill the positive commandments. Awe and fear of God will lead you to fulfill the negative commandments. By tempering love with awe and fear, you will serve God completely. It's an interesting concept that, when we receive the Torah, Hashem said to us, well, we actually answered, Na'aseh v'nishma. We'll do and then we will listen. Such a beautiful, loving answer. I mean, imagine trusting and loving someone so much that when they ask you to do something, you don't have any questions. You just do it. And then maybe later you say, hey, by the way, what was that all about? It was the highest level, so much so that the angels were like, whoa, how did they know that that was like the top answer? And what did Hashem do? He took the mountain, he put it on top of our heads, and he says, if you don't keep my commandments, I'm going to drop this mountain on you. Like, wait, what's going on here? We just said like we love you, we'll do it. Hashem said, I know. But you still need to have this awe, this fear, this knowledge of, I am above everything, in the sense of everything is part of me. And why is that important? You see, if you look at the thousands of years that we've gone through since the giving of the Torah, I don't know if love would have gotten us through everything that we've gotten through. Or let me rephrase that. I don't know if only love would have gotten us there. You see, we needed that awe, that awe of like, I don't get this, but I get you. I love you. And that got us through these times. And it's so too with relationships. Sometimes even in the most loving relationships, there's days that you just don't feel well. And if there's not that awe of the relationship, why do things? The perfect excuse, I don't feel well. But when the awe is there, the love is so deep that there's like, I just want to do anything. And I fear losing you. I fear losing that love for 1 second, that I'm going to do everything, even though I'm not there. We need that balance so that we can constantly live connected. Because the second we disconnect, that's when things get really scary. Sometimes love, and hopefully always, as we're moving into this new era of love, hopefully it's always enough. But when it's not, you should count on that awe or that fear to get you through those times where disconnecting would really be detrimental to you. And in closing, a loving king. Rav Nassan related the following parable. Once, there was a king who wished to let's try that again. Rav Nassan related the following parable. Once there was a king who wished to confer extremely precious gifts from the royal treasury upon his beloved subjects at a certain appointed time. In his great affection, he also explained to them that it would be improper to appear at the royal palace in unclean clothes. They would be required to arrive in appropriate clothing, properly groomed and perfumed with pleasant fragrances. The king sent emissaries to provide his people with the finest fabrics and other necessities with which to make garments suitable for the royal palace, as well as aromatic oils and spices. These emissaries were also charged with instructing the people and making sure they did not forget to prepare themselves within the allotted time. Thus, the king's beloved subjects would not be embarrassed when the royal summons arrived. The king even provided access to special springs and spas so that everyone would be completely cleansed, even those who had fallen into bogs and quagmires along the way. He ensured that no one would be unworthy of appearing before the king if he followed the advice of the royal emissaries. Then everyone would be fit to receive the king's precious gifts, the likes of which no eye has ever seen. This parable is self-explanatory. Fortunate are those who prepare themselves in this world and attain all that the Supreme King of Kings has in store for them in the next world. As my mother would say, or still says, luck isn't about being in the right place at the right time. It's being prepared for when the right time arrives. Have a beautiful day.